The U.S. economy grew at 6.5% in the second quarter, but legislators on both sides of the aisle say legislation that's making its way through Congress will help even more. But the trick is getting it passed through the House and Senate. Now, Wednesday, 2/3 of senators voted to begin debate on a bipartisan infrastructure bill. It invests $110 billion on America's roads and bridges. Almost the same amount would be spent on rail and public transit projects, and billions more would upgrade the country's broadband internet, airports, drinking water, and electrical grids. So one of the senators who voted in favor of moving this forward, that infrastructure bill, is Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, who joins us this morning to tell us about the work that is still ahead. Good morning to you, Senator.
Good morning, Javier.
So what do you like in this bill? What don't you like in this bill?
Well, let's focus on all the positive things in here. And we've been working on this for some time. I've been part of this bipartisan group. No secret, right, that we have in Arizona aging roads and bridges. We've got water infrastructure issues, lack of high-speed internet, especially in tribal communities and rural areas of our state. So this is incredibly important. We need to upgrade our infrastructure. It's good for our future. It's good for our quality of life, good for families. One thing you didn't mention was ports of entry, big economic driver for our state. So I'm hopeful we can get this across the finish line, get it eventually to the president's desk, because it's really a positive thing for the state of Arizona.
As I understand it, there were some questions from you and also Senator Kyrsten Sinema on whether you'd be in favor of this as is. What are some of your concerns?
Well, I mean, for me, it's always the details, and we're still, have to work some of those out, and how you're going to pay for it. Incredibly important to me too. But from a big picture, I mean, this is incredibly popular, and it should be popular with the American people. It's going to upgrade we've got failing bridges in our state. If we're going to seriously address our drought issues, we need more water storage. So this has one aspect of this has to do with Western water infrastructure, which I'm really excited about. So we got some more work to do, but I feel this is an investment in our country's future.
While many lawmakers support the infrastructure part, is President Biden being too ambitious in including an expansion of Medicare, paid family leave, funding for universal preschool, and paying for climate change initiatives?
Well, hey, I've flown in space 4 times aboard the space shuttle over a decade, and I've seen changes in our planet from low Earth orbit. And if one guy can see some changes in that really small period of time, we've got climate issues that we have to address. We can't keep kicking this can down the road. And, getting our kids an education from early on, preschool education, it's great to get them off to a good start. I'm a big believer in public education. I went to public schools myself. And it's important for our state. In Arizona, we often lag behind in per pupil spending. So what the president's intending here, and we really have to look at the details and how we're going to pay for it. And I've been focused on the bipartisan infrastructure bill. But there is a lot of positive aspects of what the administration is proposing as well.
I know what stuck out to a lot of people out there was the whole bipartisan part of this infrastructure bill. Is this a sign of what's to come, or was this just a major problem that all lawmakers had to address it?
Well, I mean, across the aisle, it doesn't matter what state you're from. And if you're a Democrat or a Republican, as I talk to my colleagues, everybody realizes that we have failing infrastructure, roads, bridges, airports, ports of entry. So everybody gets it. And that's why this legislation, and by the way, even some of the folks that didn't vote for it privately were positive about it. They've got, their reasons why not to vote for it. But that's why it was popular, though.
I want to turn to the January 6th Commission. This week we got very dramatic testimony from Capitol police officers who were attacked that day. Meanwhile, there are some of your fellow lawmakers who are downplaying that attack, and I quote, calling it a normal tourist visit. Are you disturbed by that, and are you disturbed by what you heard that day?
Well, I was there. It wasn't a normal tourist visit. I mean, in the chamber, we could hear the mob, and if you can hear them, that means they're not outside the building anymore. I mean, that was my experience. Hey, this was an attack on our democracy. It was an insurrection. I mean, I think you can label a lot of different things. I spent 25 years flying airplanes, and when you have a mishap, you do an investigation, a thorough investigation. You figure out why did this happen, and then you try to put some steps into place to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that's why this commission is important.
And what do you hope comes from this commission after we find out what happened?
Well, we get all the details. That's the first part of it, and then I think it's important to have transparency so the American people know why did this happen, and then if it's possible, to take some steps to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. We should put those things into place.
I have to ask you about COVID. With cases surging here, there's a lot of concern, also a lot of confusion from people here on the ground saying, wait, what's going on with the federal government? First, I have to wear my mask. First, I have to get vaccinated. Then I have to wear my mask, even if I'm vaccinated. So a lot of confusion. Do you think the messaging is really causing some of this confusion from the top?
No, I mean, what's causing confusion is we don't have the vaccination rate we need. If we would have had 80% of the population vaccinated now, we wouldn't be having this discussion about, the CDC changing mask guidance as an example. So let me make it clear. This vaccine is safe, it's effective, it'll save your life. And it is the key thing in defeating this virus. We need to get more vaccines into people's arms. I encourage folks, if you're eligible to get this vaccine and you haven't received it yet, go out. There's a lot of opportunity out there to get vaccinated. Please do it and if not for yourself, do it for your family.
Thank you, Senator, for taking some time. We know you have a lot of work ahead of you. We look forward to speaking with you very soon.
Well, thank you for having me on, Javier.